What's going on, guys? I'm back here with another show in the Pegasus Sports Podcast. Yes, that's the new name. I'm not gonna. I don't think it's the best name that I could have come up with, but I'm not gonna worry about it because this is just a small podcast on the dark corners of YouTube, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But today's show, we're going to be previewing the 2018 MLB season. This is a very big MLB season. The off season was a bit different than years past. But we're here, opening day's here. It's 4 or 5 days earlier than it usually is to get the players more rest time. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to preview. A lot happened in the offseason. I think the biggest move in the offseason by far would be Giancarlo Stanton's trade to the Yankees. People are complaining about the Marlins still, especially Marlins fans, for dumping their team. He says they're still going to be competitive, and people are writing them off saying they're going to only win 58 games. But baseball is too hard to predict. Most of the big media websites are following what they call the Power 7, and that is the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Indians, the Astros, the Nationals, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. They were all division winners last year, and they're saying that they're going to all win the same division again. I don't see that happening. Baseball is too hard to predict. There's a lot of teams that are up and coming and could make some noise this year. The Mets are going to have some better injuries. Not better injuries, but they're going to have some players back. They had an injury-plagued season last year. They might be a bit more competitive. St. Louis is always competitive. I could see them sneaking into the wild card, maybe even winning the division. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks could build off their progress from last year. The Padres, signing Eric Hosmer, look like a team that could finally bust through and be competitive again for the first time since 2010. The Giants had a weird season last year, but with the acquisitions of Andrew McCutchen and Evan Longoria, they could be more competitive. Madison Bumgarner and Jeff Samardzija are both injured to start the season, however, and that's going to hurt. The Dodgers dominated the regular season last year, winning 104 games. Justin Turner broke his wrist in a spring training game. I still think they'll be winning the division this year. I don't think they'll win 104 games, but I think they'll win the division. The Cubs, the Brewers, and the Cardinals, one of those three teams are going to win the NL Central, in my opinion. The Brewers acquired Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain. Those are big acquisitions. They do not have a good starting rotation, but you know who their starting rotation reminds me of? The Kansas City Royals when they went to the World Series 2 years in a row. The Brewers do not have a big name starting pitcher. The Royals didn't either. Maybe they'll be a team that could push for a World Series. Other than that, the National League East, the Nationals, I see them winning again. The Braves, I think they could make some noise. I think they could be a surprise team this year. They look ready. The Phillies look ready too. The Marlins are, of course, they're not going to be ready. The Mets are ready. This could be a competitive division. Most people are writing it off and giving it to the Nationals already. American League East is going to be Yankees or Red Sox. I don't see Toronto, Baltimore, or Tampa Bay winning. Tampa Bay looks like they're rebuilding again. They say they're cutting payroll, but they traded away a lot of their team in the offseason. I would consider that a rebuild. The American League Central, I think, belongs to the Indians because that league now has three rebuilding teams: the Royals, the Tigers, and the White Sox. The White Sox will be the best team of the rebuilding teams in that division. The Royals will be the worst rebuilding team because they're just starting. They're going to make some trades probably at the deadline to sell off some of the talent that they still have and lose on purpose, pretty much, to build the farm system. The Indians were dominant last year, and they still have most of their team intact, so I don't see why they can't win the American League Central again. The American League West, I think, will be more competitive than some say. I think the Astros will win it still. The Angels are going to be pretty competitive this year. I think the Oakland Athletics could bust through this year. They're rebuilding. They've been rebuilding for a few years. They have some good young talent, and they could finally be competitive again. And the Texas Rangers are good in the regular season. They have most of their team intact from when they went 95-67 2 years ago. They just had some injuries last year. And they have a good starting pitcher now in Matt Moore to replace Yu Darvish. They could be competitive. I think we have learned from years past that baseball is the hardest sport to predict. Hockey's the hard sport to predict too. NBA is by far the easiest. NFL is not far behind. College football is pretty easy to predict. MLB, you can never predict which team's going to be good, and that's why the regular season is awesome. It's a long marathon. It's going to be like 200 something days straight of baseball going until November, starting tomorrow. If you like baseball, this is going to be quite the marathon for you. So enjoy the season, everybody. Hopefully, I'm not going to give World Series predictions because I want to see these teams play for about a month first. So hopefully you guys enjoy the season. Thank you guys for listening, and see you next time.